How many schedule previews can you do in a day? I don't know, but this is the third one. Thank God for coffee, and I just made another pot. Yeah, we are doing a whole series of schedule previews for 2020 college football season. This is the third one I've done today. I did Miami and Alabama earlier. Click back and check those out if you want. And I'll put a link up here somewhere that you can click. It'll take you to a playlist that has all the teams in it that we've done so far. And we're going to continue this series for probably another couple of weeks or so, previewing a bunch of the 2020 schedules for all the different college football teams for next season. Let's go. Hey, good morning, Internet. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. And man, this coffee sure is good. Type about it. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. Hey, subscribe to this channel too. Yeah, that's right. I post college football videos almost every single day of the year, and sometimes they're even watchable. Did you see that spittle just come out of my mouth a minute ago too? I don't know, 4K camera. You might have seen it, I don't know. In any case, that's neither here nor there for the purposes of this video. What is here or there, though, is this schedule preview. I can't even, who am I, Southern Cal. Oh man, just what everyone's been waiting on, another Pac-12 schedule preview. Yeah, I'm gonna do Southern Cal today. 2019. Did Southern Cal overperform in 2019 or did they underperform? Maybe that's a separate question for a different day, but they went 8-4. Southern Cal really should be winning 10 plus games a year, but Clay Helton doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So in that regard, it's sort of a minor miracle that they actually went 8-4. Here's their 2019. Where is it? I'm losing my mind, but here's their 2019 schedule. Let's go through it game by game. And let's put it over here too. That'll be much better. Southern Cal 2019. What'd you do? Like I said, 8-4. Not bad, I don't think, based on at least what I thought you would do. I thought it would be a lot worse. Southern Cal's biggest problem is recruiting. I don't understand how anybody at Southern Cal can't recruit, but Clay Helton can't. Your recruiting has been pitiful. The gap between Oregon and the rest of the Pac-12, including Southern Cal, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger as every season goes along. Mario Cristobal is an excellent recruiter and even better coach. Southern Cal should be able to recruit itself, but you just don't have the athletes that you used to have, and that has to fall at least mostly on Clay Helton. I hate to keep beating that dead horse, but in your horse's name, Trojan in that? Speaking of beating a Trojan. Anyway, point is, 2019, you were 8-4, 7-2 in the Pac-12. Whee! Yeah, 5-1 at home, 3-3 on the road. Got to improve there. What'd you do last year? Well, you opened up with Fresno State and got a win. Some people had you losing that game. I'm just going to be honest. Some people had you starting out 0-1. Then you had Stanford at home and you beat them 45-20. And I'll be honest, some people had you starting out 0-2. Now, Stanford ended up being very disappointing last year. So you start out 2-0, whereas maybe had things gone differently, you could have been 0-2. So 2-0. Then you go on the road to BYU and catch a big fat L to the Fred Flintstones of college football. BYU, anybody that loses to BYU ought to be tarred and feathered. Tennessee.
Boom.
Utah. How'd you beat Utah? No one knows, but you did. 30-23, probably your best win of the season. Road game at Washington, you lost 28-14. A bye week at Notre Dame, you lost, but close. 30-27. Arizona at home, you beat them 41-14. At Colorado, win. Home against Oregon, lost 56-24. At Arizona State, win. That's a pretty good win too. At Arizona State, you beat them 31-26. At Cal, win. Destroyed them 41-17. Home against UCLA, 52-35. A big rivalry game, I guess. I don't know. And then you had a bye week the last week of the season for no reason at all. Non-con, like I mentioned, you went 1-2. You beat Fresno State, but you lost on the road at BYU and on the road at Notre Dame. On the road, put you at 3-3 for the season. Toughest stretch of games, how'd you do there? Well, week 3, 4, and 5, you had at BYU, home against Utah, and at Washington. Those are pretty difficult games. BYU, you should have beat and you didn't. You did beat Utah, minor miracle there, and then you lost to Washington. So you ended up, 1-2 in that 3-game stretch. And then the end of season, week 10, 11, and 12 at Arizona State, at Cal, rivalry game, UCLA. You won, what'd you win? All 3 of those, didn't you? Yeah, you won all 3 of those, 2 of them being on the road. So you ended the season pretty good there with a 3-game winning streak. We don't talk about bowl games in this video because this is a regular season video. So that's 2019. How's it compare to 2020? I don't know yet. Let's find out together right now. Get off there. Now here comes 2020. Come on in. All right, good. 2020, you open up against Alabama. That's right. The Gumps in a neutral field game. Arlington, Texas in that. I hate neutral field games. Go back and watch any one of these preview videos I've done that involves a team playing on a neutral field. I don't like it. I'm a Georgia fan. We play Virginia in a neutral field game to start the season. This year, I don't like that either. I'd rather play them at Virginia than next year host them. College football, I know this is a mind-blowing idea, and it's hard to wrap your mind around it, but I'm of the opinion that college football games should be played on college campuses. Mind blown. I know it's boggling. It numbs the brain. But anyway, that's my opinion. Except for bowl games, use that as a reward for the players. Let them travel somewhere nice, stay in a nice hotel, almost like a vacation, play in a fun bowl game, whatever. That's fine for neutral site. And of course, the Miami Hurricanes, who can't afford an on-campus stadium because they're piss friggin' poor. Other than that, let's get these games played on campus. But you open up against Alabama, it's going to be a tall task there. They're mad from last year because they were terrible. They couldn't beat a ranked team all season, so they finally beat Jim Harbaugh in a bowl game. Miracle! So they're out for blood this year. We'll see. They got some questions like everybody else does in the offseason, but Alabama's got some questions, mainly quarterback. Who's it going to be? Mac Jones? Will they go with the young guy, Bryce Young, coming in out of the state of California? Looks like Tua Jr., Pineapple Jr. is transferring out. So it'll be between Mac Jones and Bryce Young. We'll see what they decide to do. Their defense got to play a lot better. But that's a tough game to open up your season there in Arlington, neutral site game against Alabama. Then you come back home, another non-con game against New Mexico. You should win that one. On the road at Stanford. Stanford's a huge question mark for me this year. I like David Shaw. He's one of my favorite coaches in all of college football. I think he gets the most out of the talent that he's able to get there. I like the style of football that Stanford plays typically. Now, they really got away from that last year. They started to open it up, spread it out a lot more than what they've typically been doing. I think Stanford is at its best when they're sort of a between-the-tackles running type of team. I realized why they did it last year. They were hurting at the running back position, and they had a quarterback who they thought could get the job done, but it just didn't work out for Stanford last year. So we'll see if that was sort of the start of a trend for Stanford, and maybe they're going to be in a little bit of a downward trajectory over the next few years, or if that was just a bump in the road. Should be an interesting game for you on the road at Stanford, though. Then you come back home, play Arizona State. Another team that's better than I have given them credit for over the last couple of years. Herm Edwards, to my surprise, has done a pretty good job there with the Sun Devils. You host them. You go on the road at Utah. That'll be a tough game. They lose some key pieces from that good team they had last year, but another guy, Willingham, whatever the hell his name is, coach that gets the absolute most out of the talent he has available, and you got to play them there. One of your best wins last year when you beat them at home. Can you go 2 for 2 years in a row and beat them on the road in 2020? We'll see. Back home against Cal. Cal's sort of a 6-7 win team that seems to beat a team or two every year that you look back and you go, how'd they beat that team? And then they lose to a couple of teams where you go, how'd they lose to that team? And they, end of the season comes around and they're sitting there at 6-7. Sometimes they get lucky, win 8 games, something like that. You should handle them. On the road at Arizona, then you get your bye week. Good place for the bye week right there about the middle of the season. You come out of that, home against Colorado. Colorado's sort of in rebuild mode. I guess they're going to have a new coaching staff. Mel Tucker just took the job at Michigan State yesterday, so they're going to be hiring for a head coach. We'll see which direction they decide to go there. In a tough game on the road at Oregon. Like I mentioned earlier, Oregon is recruiting at a ridiculous level, especially compared to the rest of the teams in the Pac-12. And it would appear to the casual idiot like myself that Mario Cristobal and Oregon is best positioned in the Pac-12 to be the dominant team for the foreseeable future. We'll see. But that's going to be a tough game there on the road for you. Come back home, play Washington. Another tough game. They got a new coaching staff, new quarterback coming in. We'll see how they do. They perennially a 10-plus win team, it seems like, the last several years anyway. And then you finish things up with sort of 2 of your rivalry games on the road at UCLA, a city rivalry there. and then home against Notre Dame, a team that you play every single year, and you get them week 13 this year, the last game of the season at home. Notre Dame, again, 10-plus win team, top 10, 15 program most years over the last 10 years or so. We'll see how they look in 2020, but that's your schedule. How does it compare to 2019? Well, your non-con is much harder. Much harder. You still play Notre Dame. You played them every year. You played them last year. Instead of BYU, you play New Mexico. That's probably a little bit easier, maybe. But then you have Alabama instead of Fresno State, and the difference there is just night and day. So your non-con schedule is definitely tougher. On the road, you were 3-3. 3-3 last year. That was BYU, Washington, Notre Dame, Colorado, Arizona State, and Cal. 6 road games again this year at Stanford, at Utah, at Arizona, at Oregon, at UCLA, neutral site against Bama. So actually that's 5 road games, and then the neutral site game. The Bama game will be tough. Not technically a road game, but you do have to travel to play it. At Oregon will be tough. At Utah will be tough. Stanford, who knows? Arizona, you're probably better than them, and UCLA, you should beat them. So we'll see. We're 3-3 last year. This sort of looks almost like 3-3 to me again this year for your road schedule. If you include the neutral site game with Bama, I can see you going 3-3 over those 6 games. Toughest stretch of games. Well, week 3, 4, and 5 at Stanford, home against Arizona State, and at Utah. We know Utah's good. I know, or at least I think Arizona State's going to be good again. And Stanford, again, wait and see on them. Are they going to be as bad as they were last year? Hard to imagine they will, but we'll see. And then your last 4 games of the year, week 10, 11, 12, and 13, at Oregon, home against Washington, at UCLA, home against Notre Dame. If you're not improved over what you were last year, 2-2 is probably what you're looking at in those last 4 games. And if some of these teams are better than what we think, I think 1-3 is a possibility. Depends on how good Washington is year one without Chris Peterson and Jacob Eason. What's UCLA going to look like? Probably not much. I do think Oregon and Notre Dame are both better than Southern Cal right now, though. So we'll see. Anyway, that's it for 2020. Let me know what you think about their schedule down below. Are there any games they could slip up on? Now, don't tell me Alabama, Notre Dame, Utah, Oregon. We know those teams are probably better than Southern Cal. What about any of these other games that could sneak up on them? Washington, Arizona State to me is tricky. You go on the road and play Stanford, home to Arizona State, then on the road at Utah. That's a tricky 3 stretch of games there. Arizona State could bite you. Anyway, let me know down below what you think about Southern Cal's chances in 2020, and what do you think about this schedule. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good morning.